There are growing calls tonight for Disney to fire Rachel Zegler, the star of its widely anticipated Snow White remake. It's because of an anti-Donald Trump post she made after the election, writing, quoting here, "May Trump supporters and Trump voters and Trump himself never know peace." Zegler is now apologizing. She writes in a new post, let my emotions get the best of me, and I am sorry, contributed to the negative discourse.
What has happened to Disney? I remember back in the day when we were looking for hidden Mickeys in movies. Now they're the new symbol for a woke generation. And Rachel Zegler perfectly portrays this kind of star power that Disney is hiring. You know she's a DEI hire when she herself detests the movie that she's in. She's supposed to be the fairest of them all, Snow White. Yet she feels as if the history of this story is flawed. Now again, she's not a writer or anything, she's an actress. An actress that believes that she's above everybody else and that her political beliefs outweigh those of others. I think Megyn Kelly did it best when she talked about Zegler's hateful post on this video. Watch.
Picture a Broadway actress who issued a post saying, F Biden supporters. May Biden or Kamala never have a moment's peace. That person would be fired so fast it would make your head spin. They wouldn't last one more minute in any Hollywood role. This is truly like, she has to go. I'm sorry, Disney. She has to go. And you're going to put out a Disney film with Snow White, a beloved American character, with a woman who hates more than half the country, the half that just elected Donald Trump. This is an incredible pivot point right now. We'll see which way the woke Disney decides to go.
Now, if we go by the numbers, there's a high possibility that this girl is never hired by Disney ever again. Just to give you guys an idea here, their trailer for this film has around 10 million views and less than 100,000 likes. You may not see it on your browser, but the trailer now has more than 1 million downvotes. And if you go through the comments, you'll see exactly what people think about Zegler. So here's one. I've never gone to the trouble of disliking a YouTube video before. For this, I made an exception. There's a lot of comments here that talk about her disdain for Trump. There's around 70,000 comments at the moment, guys. I'm thinking this is gonna shoot through the roof as Disney faces even more pressure to let this girl go. One crazy comment even went so far as to say, I'm rooting for the poison apple. Now, it's also worth noting that the most replayed part of the video is the very beginning, meaning that people clicked on the video, paused it, then went over to the comment section to say whatever it was that they wanted to say, which is kind of brave for Disney to do because as far as we know, the comment section is still open for everyone. Now, before we get to her apology, one that's probably AI generated for all we know, I do want to talk about this hateful rhetoric. I have to say that half the country should never know peace is kind of a big deal because if you ask Trump supporters right now, they would tell you that they're perfectly at peace with what happened during this year's election, with many of them being assured that the next 4 years will be much kinder than the last. But Zegler's anger and hate has spawned even more from her supporters. In a post that showed her apology, a supporter of the actress said that she should be able to shoot 5 Trump supporters a day, and that she shouldn't be apologizing for anything. Now, we can't be sure of this person's political beliefs, but I think it's safe to say that they don't like President Trump or his supporters. But to call for reckless violence against Americans is just never a good thing, because we can understand that people are free to have their own opinions, right? I think it's actually healthy to have different points of view, but that should never encourage you to harm people who don't agree with you. Now, let's talk about that apology for a second. She posted this on Instagram where she wrote, "Hi everyone, I would like to sincerely apologize for the election post I shared on my Instagram last week. I let my emotions get the best of me. Hatred and anger have caused us to move further and further away from peace and understanding. And I'm sorry I contributed to the negative discourse." Now again, guys, I gotta say this for our own sanity. These are the people who claim that Trump is the guy who's been pushing hate and creating division with the United States. The very people who are pushing hate and who are creating division and danger with the United States. Oh, the hypocrisy, right? The same guy who wants the country to be united. I mean, guys, it's just crazy to think that they're pinning all of this wrath on a man who literally just wants to help work for the American people. And speaking of work, there's a good chance that Zegler won't find any new work in the future. Her film Snow White has been delayed by so many different factors. There was a scandal about Disney replacing the 7 dwarves with magical creatures of all sizes and genders. When people turned on Disney, they decided to fire all those actors and instead opted for CGI generated dwarves.
Disney's Snow White remake that was supposed to be coming out in 2024 is now going to be coming out in 2025, and it seems like they've taken in some of the backlash and made some changes. Y'all remember the 7 magical diversity hires that were put together to replace the 7 dwarves that we know and love? Well, a new shot from the film shows that they've brought back the 7 dwarves, and they're now CGI. And since the film is not coming out till 2025, it seems like they have plenty of time to go and edit and reshape the plot. We all know that Rachel Zegler, who's playing Snow White, is famous for saying this about the storyline.
Prince. She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be.
She single-handedly managed to describe a plot that absolutely nobody in their right mind was asking for when they thought about Snow White. And I get it, it's not entirely her fault. Disney has a clear agenda. But if they've taken in the backlash and decided to change out the dwarfs, what else are they going to change for the 2025 release?
Because I guess they realized that the dwarves were an integral part of the story. And maybe there weren't enough woke supporters to support the idea. But when that was cleared up, Snow White just had to come in and ruin everything again. We all know the story of Snow White. Zegler on her end doesn't like it though. She thinks that the prince is a creepy stalker and that the entire premise of the story is misogynistic. Watch.
I know that you've told me before that your version of Snow White is different and it's more of a 2022 version of Snow White. What did you mean by that?
I mean, you know, the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her.
Yeah.
Weird.
Super weird.
So we didn't do that this time.
So no prince or a different kind of prince?
We have a different approach to what I'm sure a lot of people will assume is a love story just because, like, we cast a guy in the movie.
Right.
Andrew Burnap, great dude.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that I think everyone's going to have their assumptions about what it's actually going to be, but it's really not about the love story at all, which is really, really wonderful. And whether or not she finds love along the way is anybody's guess until 2024. All of Andrew's scenes could get cut. Who knows? It's Hollywood, baby.
I'm not sure if she's predicted her own future at the end there. And with her talking about a colleague being cut completely from their movie, it just shows what kind of values she holds. And as you've heard, it was supposed to be released this year, but the film's release has now been moved to 2025, which means that things could still change. With Disney spending hundreds of millions of dollars on this thing already, I think it's pretty obvious that they don't want it to bomb. This is a big investment for Disney. But with her in the leading role, expect more than half the country to boycott this film. What do you guys think? Are you excited for the live remake of this classic Snow White movie? Leonardo DiCaprio, he shared a video on Instagram endorsing Kamala Harris for president. Robert Downey Jr., along with his Avengers co-stars, urged people to vote Democrat ahead of the election. Mark Ruffalo, he even tried to make the cringe hashtag assemble for democracy. Ew. But yeah, guys, Fox News Digital has reached out to representatives for Winfrey, Lopez, Swift, Clooney, Beyonce, Springsteen, Downey Jr., DiCaprio, and Schwarzenegger. No comment from each and every one of them. I mean, are we really surprised here? Drop a good yes or no in the comments, guys. Hit the like button to show your support. We're about halfway through this Kamala Harris teardown, and you definitely do not want to miss what we have in store for you guys at the end, which is Kamala Harris's campaign asking for supporters for money to support her $20 million post-election debt. And there's one other piece that you probably haven't heard about. For real, guys, stay right there. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button. Totally appreciate you guys. And we're going to make sure that Kamala Harris and the deep state lose. All right, so let's get back. So while Hollywood is hiding from Kamala Harris's shame, pro-Trump supporters have just been flooding social media. Actress Roseanne Barr is a longtime and well-known supporter of Trump, and she's been active in Twitter conversations about the landslide win for the Republican nominee. Just recently, Roseanne Barr, she even responded to one post suggesting that she be the next U.S. press secretary. She said she will do it and tagged Trump's account at Real Donald Trump. Rob Snyder posted a video of himself on Instagram singing Michael Jackson's Smile during a recent stand-up appearance and dedicated it to the Democratic Party. Oh, and Zachary Levi too. He responded to a fan's tweet about feeling vindicated after the election results. It was some beautiful words from the Shazam actor, so let me go ahead and share it with you guys. He said, honestly, I don't really feel vindication because I didn't need to win to know that I was fighting for what was right. Win or lose, I was going to follow the conviction and calling that God put in on me from the time that I was born. That said, I'm so incredibly grateful to and proud of every one of you who saw through all the noise and chose to vote for at Real Donald Trump. There's still much work to be done though, and I won't stop fighting, ever. Now that's a real supporter right there, guys. Not like the fair weather celebrity endorsers Kamala Harris seems to have. What did that impersonator say again? Taylor Swift, Beyonce, Where are you now? Kamala's all alone, drinking in her Democratic basement. She's probably hiding from the whopping $20 million debt that she still owes people from her campaign. President-elect Donald Trump recently brought it up on X. He said that Democrats who fought a hard and valiant fight in the 2020 presidential election, raising a record amount of money, didn't have lots of dollars left over. Moreover, according to Trump, now they're being squeezed by vendors and others. They're going to start having the collections agency calling them. He even called out for Republicans to do whatever they can to help them during this difficult period. He said that his party has a lot of money left over and that their biggest asset in the campaign was earned media, and that doesn't actually cost very much. I mean, can you believe it, guys? The Harris campaign outraised Trump with over $1 billion in less than 4 months since President Joe Biden was forced out of the race. And lo and behold, the vice president still managed to end up with her campaign $20 million in debt. That's Democrats for you guys. And now her campaign's at it again. The failed Democratic presidential hopeful is now asking for cash for the account through this fundraising platform, Act Blue, as vendors worry her campaign won't pay them for services already rendered. It's pretty jacked up. What they're telling their supporters is that it's supposed to be for the down ballot Democrats pushing for a recount in their respective races. Sure, Bob. What they didn't tell people is that the money can also be used to pay off election-related expenses too. So far, from what we've gathered, only incumbent Pennsylvania Democratic Senator Bob Casey has officially launched a recount in his bid to overturn Republican challenger Dave McCormick's projected victory. Apparently, they're still holding out some kind of hope that outstanding provisional votes from members of the U.S. military and others in the deep blue Philadelphia will overcome McCormick's 36,000 vote advantage. In fact, the three-term senator's campaign is still blasting out fundraising emails and claiming that the race is not over. And get this, guys, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, in one of his final acts of defiance as the departing Senate leader, he took the unusual step of not inviting McCormick and apparent Democratic victor Ruben Gallego in Arizona's Senate race to Washington, D.C. for orientation session in the upper chamber this week. National Republican Senatorial Committee spokesman Philip Letsu, he blasted the move and said that instead of wasting millions of Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars on a doomed recount, Bob Casey must concede and Schumer must allow McCormick to attend Senate orientation. I mean, can you believe this, guys? These people said that they're all about protecting democracy, and here they are blatantly defying the voice of the people every step of the way. What happened to all the Hollywood celebrities that were endorsing her? I mean, they really tried to give life to Kamala Harris's campaign, but in reality, they were really only able to accomplish one thing, which is that I quit watching their shows. I mean, seriously, guys, the whole thing was just tone deaf from the very beginning. Fox News contributor Raymond Arreo, he talked about this and how Kamala was showing off celebrities while Trump was out helping with hurricane victims. Watch.
All right, Raymond, Trump is visiting hurricane victims, connecting with the common man, but what's Kamala's camp doing?
Well, remember many months ago, Laura, I told you that I thought this was going to be a pain election. How much pain are the voters willing to endure? With that in mind, Kamala Harris is closing this campaign not with solutions, but with stars. Lizzo hit Detroit for her, and I mean, she hit it.
This is how a bad saves democracy. You couldn't even spell democracy. Ah! You know, they say if Kamala wins, then the whole country will be like Detroit. Okay? Proud like Detroit.
Nothing says, I'm coming to help you, America, like Lizzo promising that every town will be Detroit if Kamala's elected. The tone deafness, Laura, continued all through the weekend. Stevie Wonder serenaded Kamala, Usher campaigned in Atlanta, and Cher tried to turn back time to the Biden era from her house.
I've followed Kamala Harris since she was my U.S. Senator. She fought for me then, and she is fighting for all of us now. That's why I'm proudly voting for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
I love you more, but I love Kamala Harris even more.
I think Elon Musk said it best when he said that he thought it was rich that J-Lo was going to warn us about voting for Trump, but did she warn anybody about Diddy? So this is probably why nobody's even going to listen to her. And the question is, where are all of these celebrities now? Even Democratic Representative Greg Landsman from Ohio, he admitted that the whole thing was out of touch. Watch.
The celebrity endorsement part is hilarious because it is true. Like, no one cares what some of these... We like their movies, we like their music, who they're voting for, not so important.
Do the celebrity endorsements make Democrats seem out of touch?
Yeah, I suspect if you're hanging out with, you know, these celebrities, it's not the life I'm living. So yeah, sure, that feels different.
Well, the American people made it very clear. Hollywood, you're fired. Democrats, you're fired too. Now, as comedian Bill Maher said, you know, it's time for Democrats to look in the mirror after that humiliating Kamala Harris loss. Watch.
To the losers, look in the mirror. No? Well, maybe you should. Sorry. Well, that's my feeling. Losers look in the mirror, okay? You know, yeah. I mean, for months, Democrats have been saying, how is this even close? And they're right, it wasn't.
Seriously, guys, it's been a week since Donald Trump declared victory over Kamala Harris in the 2024 presidential election. But what happened to all the celebrities that were supposedly endorsing Kamala Harris? Why aren't they saying anything? It's like radio silence, right? I mean, we're talking about A-list stars like Oprah Winfrey, Taylor Swift, Jennifer Lopez, George Clooney, Beyonce, Bruce Springsteen, Leonardo DiCaprio, even Arnold Schwarzenegger. You guys remember all that, right? But now it's just radio silence. Now, according to PR expert Doug Eldridge, had it been closer, you might have been hearing more fervent rebukes and calls to resist from the celebrity class. But the thing is, Trump dominated the Electoral College and he won the popular vote. The voters, which is a synonym for fans in this case, they spoke loud and clear. So now Eldridge is pretty much saying that these partisan celebs might have lost the election, but they cannot afford to isolate and lose their fans as well. But seriously, guys, it's like business as usual for these people. Oprah Winfrey spoke at the Democratic National Convention in August and appeared at Harris's final rally in Philadelphia on the eve of Election Day. Well, nothing. Meanwhile, Lopez, who spoke at Harris's rally in Las Vegas, has been busy promoting her film Unstoppable, and Taylor Swift, who publicly endorsed Kamala Harris in September, she was recently seen at her boyfriend Travis Kelce's NFL game. And nope, neither one of them have even publicly commented on the results. George Clooney said in a CNN interview that what President Biden did, withdrawing from the race, showed what true leadership is, and that they're all so excited to do whatever they can to support Vice President Harris in her historic quest. But nope, the Academy Award winner actor, he just, he's yet to share his thoughts on Trump's win. And remember Beyonce, guys? Everybody was expecting her to perform at a Harris rally in Houston on October 25th. Yay, free Beyonce concert, right? Better than Coachella. But again, nope, she said that she was not there as a celebrity and not there as a politician. She said that she was there as a mother. Well, too bad people weren't there to see Beyonce as a mother. You know what I mean, guys? She said no limitations for her daughters, but now she has yet to publicly comment post-election. Then, of course, there's Bruce Springsteen, the boss as he likes to call himself. Yeah, he admitted that his opinion is no more or less important than those of any of his fellow citizens. But then he goes out and says that he's supporting Kamala Harris for president and Tim Walz for vice president, and he's also added that he's opposing Donald Trump and J.D. Vance. Same with Arnold Schwarzenegger, former Republican governor of California. He said that he wanted to tune out, but he can't. Well, people wish that he would, because according to him, he will always be an American before I am a Republican. He then declared that he was voting for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. Well, I'm glad California got rid of Arnold Schwarzenegger. Well, 70 million Americans made it pretty clear. They're Americans first before listening to people like the Terminator. And guess what, guys? Arnold has since posted on Instagram, but yeah, you've guessed it, he has yet to comment on election results. And the list just goes on and on and on, guys. And since we talked about woke Disney, I want to talk to you guys about a woke mayor. Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson continues to tell his constituents to go touch grass as he does things his way. You're not going to believe how badly he mistreats his own people. So I suggest that you guys watch my previous video on that to see how it all went down. But as always, thanks so much for hitting the like button and subscribing. See you guys next time.